Hello everyone, my name is History Nuggets, and today we will be talking about the Pacific Theater of World War I. The beginning of the Pacific Front of World War I begins with Qingdao, a Chinese city controlled by the German Empire. Defended by almost 4,000 soldiers, Qingdao also had a decent enough navy from the Austrians as well as the Germans. The Japanese Empire, eager to expand its sphere of influence in Eastern Asia, joined the war on the side of the Allies. With 23,000 soldiers as well as over 58 ships, the Japanese would begin an assault on Qingdao on the 31st of October, 1914. Led by Japanese General Kiyomi Mitsubishi, the battle would be short-lived, with 703 German soldiers dying as well as 2,000 Allied deaths. The German garrison there would be put as prisoners of war, and Japan would take over the fort of Qingdao. After the siege of Qingdao, the Pacific front of the war would begin. The first offensive would go on with the invasion of German Samoa by forces from New Zealand. The campaign would end with no actual battles, as the 1,000 New Zealanders were enough to overrun the German territory. Australian forces would then attack German New Guinea, with the 500 Australians encountering 300 Germans in September of 1914. The Allies would win the Battle of Bitapaka, resulting in a German retreat to Toma. After a long siege, the German governor Eduard Habar would surrender, and German New Guinea would fall to the Australians. After this, Japan would invade and take the islands of Micronesia, the Marianas, the Carolines, and the Marshall Islands from the Germans, all with very little or no resistance at all. The Russian theater of the Pacific Front saw Tsar Nicholas II recruit Central Asians to help against the Germans. After this, revolts would break out in Central Asia, resulting in Eastern Russians resulting in helping out. China would then allow Russian refugees into their land, and by the end of this, over 270,000 Central Russians would die. China in 1917 would then declare war on the Central Powers. After Germany began helping coups in China to prevent from them joining the war, the German concessions in Tianjin and Hankow were then occupied, and China would provide thousands of laborers to help in factories for the Western Front of the war. The last major contributor to the Pacific theater of World War I would be Siam. Siam would declare war in July of 1917 and would immediately seize 12 German ships in Siam. Siam would then send German prisoners to India as prisoners of war, and Siam would provide more troops to help in the Western Front. During all of this, the German Navy was in a frenzy to return to the mainland in Germany. After the conquest of Qingdao, the main German naval base would go all across the Pacific to attempt to make it to the mainland. A couple of engagements would then occur, with one off the coast of Chile, which resulted in a German victory, one off of the Falklands, which resulted in a British victory, which resulted in most of the German Navy having to retreat to neutral Argentina, where they would honestly stay for most of the war. All in all, the Pacific theater of World War I was quite small, but had a large impact on the interwar period. With the rising Japanese Empire overseeing much of the peace treaty, Japan would solidify itself as a rising superpower, while the German Empire would see its full collapse, resulting in its influence in Asia coming to an end, while the Japanese influence would be truly beginning. This is History Nuggets. Thank you for watching.